Hello, hello. How's everybody doing tonight? Happy Monday. We're a few minutes early. It's 7:53. I'm looking over here at my computer. We have a few people on, but it's because my group is punctual. 8 p.m. they're going to come on. So we'll give you a few minutes. We did the music. We're going to get started. If you are here, could you please let me know where you're tuning in from? I would appreciate that. Um, Let us know where you're tuning in from in the chat. We have Elvin there. Hello, Elvin. Let's see who else is here. If you're here and you're not subscribed, please subscribe, because once you subscribe, if you wait like a minute, you'll be able to get in the chat and talk with us, because that just makes the discussion so much nicer, so much more exciting. All right, I'll wait a few minutes. Let's see who chimes in. My name is Karen Marinez. I'm an emotional wellness coach. Imani, hey Imani, good to see you. And I'm sure people will trickle in. We're just a little bit early. We logged on. I'm an emotional wellness coach. I help you identify, manage, and untangle your emotions. People say I'm broken. No, you're just tangled up. Okay. And I help you to do those things without judgment, because we feel all these emotions and we judge ourselves, and it makes the whole thing that much worse. Without judgment. Okay. Now we have Dr. Jesso is here. Hey, Dr. Jesso. Good to see you. Hope everybody's having a good day. It was a holiday today. Most of you probably didn't work, so I hope you got some good rest, some things accomplished, and then good rest. We have Leah in the house. We have Fabby Boo in the house. Hey, hey, hey. Everybody's coming on in. It's so nice to have everybody here. We have Massachusetts, New York. Imani, where are you? Are you also New York? I don't remember. We have Yolanda from Palm Bay. Imani, where are you tuning in from? Remind me, please. So if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button right below. We are now aiming for 2,000 subscribers. That's our goal. Thank you so much for being a part of this whole community, supporting the channel. How can you help us to continue growing? Share this with others. You can press the share button right now. If you could think of someone that could benefit from this information, please do that. I'm going to mention the title. We're going to talk about the childhood wound of humiliation tonight. Good stuff. I'm glad we have 2 weeks to cover it, because there's so much information, but it's exciting. All right. Some have asked if it's okay to reach out to me if they want coaching one-on-one with me. Of course. All my contacts are in the notes of this video. Feel free to reach out. You can join our a WhatsApp chat for emotional well-being. I'm on Instagram. You can email me at karenmcoach@gmail.com, but all of that information is down below. All right, so let's get started. Imani, let me see what you're saying. Imani from Arizona. Yes, yes. I got it. All right. So it's you guys are 3 hours uh behind us, right? Very nice. Okay. What is the origin of the wound of humiliation in childhood? Where does it originate? It originates in situations where the child is criticized, shamed, or humiliated by parents, caregivers, or authority figures. And this wound can develop from experiences where the child is ridiculed, exposed to mockery, belittled for their appearance, behavior, or abilities. And it starts when we feel that our parents or our environment has disapproved, criticized, or ridiculed us. So what that forms a lack of self-esteem. It shapes us into having a dependent personality from which we underestimate ourselves. We don't see our true value, our worth. We feel guilty about everything. We're constantly saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And we forget our needs in order to please others. And without realizing it, we end up believing that our own self-recognition, us seeing our worth, depends on the image that others have of us. And that motivates us. It's a vicious cycle to keep giving more and more and more and more and more because we're trying to prove that we're worthy. So the trauma of humiliation is generated by having lived through repeated shameful experiences in front of parents or from parents. So when the person comes into that contact with this wound through some daily experience, right? There may be a traumatic component in which part of them feels that they have to protect themselves, which makes sense. If someone's attacking you, humiliating you, embarrassing you, you want to protect yourself, right? And that activates shame, disassociation, freezing, anger, submission, and just outright collapse. It's something. So, as always, when we talk about these things, it's like I'm putting a mirror up in front of you. There are five, let's just review. There are five childhood wounds. This is the fourth one that we're discussing, the wound of humiliation. They all happen when we're young, and we get them from our caregivers, parents, grandparents, right? Um, and it's very important to be able to help ourselves to get the help that we need. We need to know what we're experiencing. So I'm going to just describe more about this humiliation wound. I'm going to give experiences, examples, so that you could see it from different lenses and you could say, oh, yeah, I have some of that. Because we all have most of the five wounds, some part of them, but at least two are like highly pronounced in our lives, and it affects everything that we do. So I'm going to give you a lot of information. You can take notes and then you can analyze yourself. Is this me? Is this something that I go to? Oh, that's why I freeze up when I'm embarrassed. Oh, that's why I get so angry. Is that why I feel so much shame on a daily basis and guilt? Right? We have Deborah Owens in the house from Massachusetts. We have Marion Bailey from Massachusetts, and we have Renee. Good to see you, Renee. I saw you on the Telegram, just typing away. Uh, Thanks for all of that good stuff about the UPO class. Okay. All right. So the person who has a wound based on the trauma of humiliation tends towards a masochistic profile. There's always like a mask that the person puts on. So this person is masochistic. Um, what's a masochist? It's a person who enjoys any activity that appears to be painful or tedious. Are you that person? At work, I'll do it. I'll do it. No one else wants to do it. You take on the challenge. A person who's gratified by pain or degradation, that's self-imposed, or they welcome it from others. A person who finds pleasure in self-denial. So someone with this wound is so involved in taking care of other people's things. They're all over here. I talk about it all the time, and they totally forget about themselves. Can we heal from this wound? Yes, we can heal from all wounds. That's the good news. How can we do it? By letting go of the heavy burden of humiliation and guilt, setting limits, boundaries, and respect, forgiving the people who hurt us, and look at that, forgiving ourselves, reconciling ourselves with the past so we can begin to value ourselves as the person we are and take responsibility now as adults. We can't control what happened in the past. We were children, we were underage, we had very little control, if any. But now that we're adults, we can take responsibility. This is what happened to me. These were my experiences. How can I grow from this? I got to heal it, but then how can I grow? I don't have to stay stuck here. And a lot of times, our caregivers, parents, they're not even around anymore. And we still hold on to these traumas. Healing is possible. It's very encouraging. What does it look like when a child is humiliated? Well, somebody makes a hurtful comment about a child. They disguise it as a joke. And they just say, we're just playing around, you know? A parent, for example, makes a hurtful comment about the child's weight or their appearance in front of their friends. It's not in private, it's in front of their friends or in front of others. And they say, I'm only joking. Why are you getting so upset? And they brush it off. But that's humiliating. And humiliation only serves to teach a person that they don't matter. I don't care about your feelings. Get over it, right? That when you make a mistake or fall short in some way, it's put on display for public consumption and criticism. That's so unloving. And what happens? They'll be cut down and devalued. But there are even other subtler ways to shame children, making them feel guilty, dumb, belittling, or just bad. For example, somebody says, "You're acting like a spoiled brat," or "You cry, baby, stop that crying," or "Grow up." And they're 6 or 10. Or the boys, "Don't be a sissy." Good little boys don't act that way, right? So all these incidents, being scolded in front of others. In doing my research, apparently there's a thing. I didn't get to research more. I really didn't want to see it, but apparently there's a thing with parents that make kids stand on street corners with signs stating what their offenses are, and they put it on social media. How humiliating is that? Right? And the flip side of it is that it's so bad that it makes the child forever despise their parent or caregivers. So children should be allowed to reach out and interact, communicate with their caregivers, their parents, without being shamed. And it's in the hope that the parent will provide security, protection, and support, also understanding and compassion. That's what a parent-child relationship should be. I'm in need as a child. Mommy, daddy provide the safety, protection, and support. But when children are emotionally and psychologically abused, they may grow up feeling unloved, unwanted, and afraid. Fear is very much linked with the wound of humiliation. So normal development of the child can be interrupted and send a child into self-isolation. It's interesting. Some people say, I'm an introvert, or I'm antisocial, they say. Could this be one of the reasons why? Because if I avoid people, I'm not open to being humiliated. And this is when negative thoughts are developed. And this is why some adults feel they're not good enough, because they don't develop normally. So a friend shared a similar story. Her brother frequently shames his children in front of her. When the family gets together, that's when he takes the opportunity to loudly announce the wrongdoings of his children. And the children stand there with their eyes cast downward. Isn't that sad? So as the children become adults, they parent themselves in the same way that they were parented. We talk about this all the time. What was done to us, then we can do it ourselves. So the messages internalized from childhood are now ingrained in the adult's mind. And those messages play like endless tapes, repeating over and over. How could you be so stupid? You can't do anything right. That's why nobody likes you. We could say those things to ourselves. Oh, and shaming and humiliation cause fear in children. And that fear doesn't go away just because we grow up. It becomes a barrier for a healthy emotional life and is difficult to eradicate. So again, keeping people at bay. I'm an introvert. I'm non-social, right? Or I'm socially awkward. Could it be because of this wound of humiliation? A lot to think about, right? And then, of course, if the person that suffers the wound of humiliation has children, they could unwittingly pass it down to that generation, and it just keeps going on and on and on. Yes, Dr. Jess. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. So some specific causes of the wound of humiliation. Let's talk about it. Scolding or shouting. Speaking to children in a loud or harsh voice can make them feel scared and humiliated. And they're exacerbated, those feelings, if the punishment takes place in front of other children or adults. How embarrassing, right? The other one, constant criticism. Parents continually criticizing the child for their mistakes and imperfections. It makes me feel like something's wrong with me. And I feel shame and humiliation. I feel that I'm not good enough, right? Or that I'm always failing to meet the expectations of my parents. How downhearted that makes a child feel. Another is unfavorable comparisons. The parent comparing the child to others. How come you can't be like your big brother? How come you can't be like your cousin? Look how she behaves. How come you can't get grades like her? It makes a child feel inferior, humiliated. Comparisons are no good, and it can make the person feel less valuable or capable. What about public ridicule or mockery? When a child is publicly ridiculed or shamed in school, home, other social settings, they could internalize that experience as a sign that something is inherently wrong with them. So even teachers, people in public education, please be aware this can affect children. It can set a mark on them. And this wound can be really, really damaging. This was an interesting one. Overprotection and excessive control. Parents can think, I'm going to protect, but they overprotect. I'm going to control, but they excessively control. They have good intentions, right? Perhaps, or it was done to them. But the wound of development of humiliation can develop in that environment where a child is treated as if they're incapable of handling things on their own. Isn't that interesting? And it leads the child to feel humiliated as if they're not competent or independent enough. And the child is saying, I can do it, I can do it. No, I'll do it. You don't know how to do anything. Or without even saying those words, by the parent's actions, the child feels incapable because mommy and daddy always take care of everything. Interesting. I was talking to a client about that. Her parents were very responsible financially in regards to her college, this, that. However, they never taught her how to handle. She was given a credit card, no instructions. It was an American Express. You have to pay American Express. When that bill comes, they want all their money, or the interest rate is just sky high. It was never explained to her how to handle a credit card. They just gave it to her. How to save, how to manage your money, how to budget. That can be humiliating because then you get into real life and other people who have been taught, you feel like you're way behind them. But you see how a parent could inadvertently cause their child to suffer from this wound of humiliation. What about parent shame projection? This is also interesting. If parents feel ashamed of some characteristic or behavior of the child and openly express it, openly talk about it, the child could internalize those feelings and could develop a deep wound of humiliation. Humiliation is very deep because the child internalizes everything. And of course, the impact of this wound in adulthood, how does it manifest itself? In low self-esteem, fear of rejection, a constant need for approval. Are you a people pleaser, right? Or self-destructive behaviors? Because again, remember the masochist, self-inflicted pain or self-sabotage. I want to do this, but I don't really feel I'm capable or deserve it. And so I sabotage it before I can have any success at it. Yeah. Renee says, and now you expect someone else to fix it. Yeah. It's deep, very, very deep. So we talked about healing. Can it be healed? The answer is yes. What does it require? Self-awareness. That's why we're talking about it. So you can look in the mirror and say, is this me? Do I have some of that? Self-awareness, self-compassion. We always talk about self-compassion. Last week or the week before, or maybe both weeks before, we talked about self-compassion, how to develop it. And basically it is, how would I treat a friend if they were going through this? What would I say to them? Okay, I'm going to say that to myself. And then of course, therapy helps getting that support. So let's talk about some ways to address and heal the wound. You ready? You guys ready? Here we go. The first one is recognition and acceptance. Acknowledge the wound. Because if we walk around in denial, right, then I don't have that. No, I'm good. Then we can't help ourselves. No one else can help us either. Okay. So the first step is to identify and accept that the wound of humiliation exists. And that involves recognizing the behavioral, thought, and emotional patterns associated with the wound. The other part of that is accept your emotions. Are you the type that you cry and you lower your head because you don't want anyone, and you quickly get the tissue and you, because you feel bad about what you're feeling, you judge your emotions? But I'm here to say, please allow yourself to feel the emotions associated with humiliation. Some of them are shame, guilt, or fear, because accepting them is necessary to start the healing process. If we're judging our emotions, we can't begin the healing process. We have to let it flow. Voiceover HQ, hello, welcome. It's good to have you here. Number two is work with a therapist or a coach. A therapist, especially someone who specializes in childhood wounds, can guide you through exploring the roots of the wound and help you work on destructive thoughts and behavioral problems. I'm a coach. I can help you work on those same things, get to the root of the wound, why you're feeling the way you do, what are the emotions associated with your wound. We talk about it, we work at it, we untangle. I had a client the other day and she's like, I don't think about this. No, I can't. But I've already compartmentalized and healed from that. We laughed a lot. But she realizes that I helped her to see that you didn't heal from it because you're sitting in front of me and you're full of anxiety. Your body's shaking. You're not well. You have not healed from this. So we have to go back, clean it up, heal it, then bring you forward to the present, and you'll be a whole different person, and you'll have peace, and you'll be able to mother your children like you want to mother them, the way they deserve to be mothered. So hopefully she'll come back. It takes courage, though, to face that past that we thought we left way behind, but the past comes back. It's all in our cells, the cells of our body. And the body's like this. We have to face it. We have to get the help from someone on the outside. The third thing is to reframe our beliefs. So, limiting beliefs that a lot of us have. I'm not good enough. Or again, the masochist says, I deserve to be punished, whether it's getting written up at the job or losing a partner, whatever it is, or we have this project that we're trying to get off, get started, and we can never get it off the ground. Eh, that's not for me. I'm not good enough for that. But that's a limiting belief because it keeps us way down here. But we want to work on reframing those beliefs with more positive and realistic affirmations, right? And so one way to get through that is to say, who used to say that to me? If you say, I'm not good enough, well, I deserve to be punished. Try to think back. Did one of my parents used to say that to me? Did a teacher say that to me? And is it really true in the real world? Do people who love me say that, or is that just me and my past talking? Because those things keep us down, they limit us, and they're not even true. You are good enough. You're worthy. We're good people around here. This community is amazing. You do not deserve to be punished. You deserve the best in life. But for a lot of people, that's very hard to accept. It's very hard to hear. It's very hard for them to process that. They say, no, no. Another client said, I can cheer everyone else on, but how come I can't do that for myself? Right? So we have to work on reframing our beliefs. And one way to do it is who used to say that to me? When did I hear that? Well, how old was I? And is it really true in the real world? And you can find out by asking someone who really cares about you. Are you good enough? You're the best friend I have. You're amazing. That's probably what you're going to hear. Number four is develop self-esteem. Okay. Self-esteem. A couple of weeks ago, I had a list of things to help us to better our self-esteem. We want to work on healthy self-esteem through self-acceptance and recognizing our own strengths and achievements. And we did an exercise that many cringed at, asking someone that you trust and that you respect to list, I think it was 3 of your good qualities. A lot of people either didn't do it, or once they did it, it was like, ooh, they were afraid to hear and they couldn't accept it. It was like, no, I don't. But that's how people see you. It was all wonderful things. You deserve to hear it. For some people, it's very difficult to hear because they've always heard such negativity. And this also includes self-compassion practices like speaking kindly to yourself. You had a bad day. You made an error, a mistake at work. You yelled at your child. You said something bad to your spouse. Well, you're human. You make mistakes. You can rectify it. But to spiral down thinking that you're the worst person on the planet is not productive either. And it's not true. We all make mistakes. But the self-compassion, what would you say to your friend if they had done that? You said, well, just go on and explain it to your husband. Just tell him you have, he'll forgive, ask for forgiveness, right? Those are the things we say. But how come we can't say that to ourselves? Very difficult. Again, reprogramming, training ourselves, starting new habits instead of saying, I can't, no, you're going to do better the next time. It's okay. Pick yourself up. You're going to do better the next time. How can I rectify this? Positive affirmations work as well. They reinforce our worth and dignity. Pinterest has wonderful positive affirmations. Google, put in positive affirmations, hundreds come up. I encourage you to pick 2 or 3 and write them down somewhere and say them to yourself each day for a week, and then go back in, get 2 or 3 more. Maybe put it on your nightstand or on the mirror in your bathroom as you're brushing your teeth. You can see this. I deserve respect and love as I am. My mistakes do not define my worth as a person. One of my favorites is I prioritize myself, right? And that way, we're constantly feeding ourselves with positive thoughts because our brains can take over and our past can take over. And ooh, right? Anne Marie's in the house. Hey, Anne, good to see you. So, number 5 is set healthy boundaries. We talked about boundaries last week, especially with parents. A lot of people have a hard time setting healthy boundaries because we have to put healthy in there. Because if we just say set boundaries, we could keep everybody away, right? But we don't want to keep everybody away. We just want to lovingly protect our space, our emotional well-being, right? We want to take care of ourselves, and taking care of ourselves, just like we would have wanted our parent to protect us from things that scared us or made us uncomfortable as children. Now that we're the adult, we want to do that for ourselves. So what's one thing we need to learn to say is no. Simple. Develop the ability to set clear and healthy boundaries in your relationships. Avoid excessive compliance. And where could excessive compliance come from? Fear of humiliation. If I don't say yes, if I say no, he's gonna be so upset. So I'm just going to say yes to avoid. But the yes to what? Is it gonna bring you harm? Is it gonna make you uncomfortable? Then it's a no. It's all about you. You have to take care of you. You have to protect you. And you don't have to be nasty about it, but it's a clear, firm no. I'm not available. I prefer not to do that. No. Simple. But it's hard, I know, when you're not used to it, but it's something to work on. And learn to respect yourself. Recognize that you deserve to be treated with respect. And again, learn to withdraw from situations or relationships that are humiliating or disrespectful. Your mother doesn't know how to speak to you in a respectful way, then she doesn't get the privilege of having you around often. Your father gets out of hand on the phone, then the conversation comes to an end, right? A child, an adult child is calling, threatening, whatever a sibling, I don't deserve to be treated like that. And I refuse to be treated like that. And you speak up for yourself. I'm going to remove myself from this situation because it's not healthy for me. That's it. You don't have to get all worked up and loud and boundaries. Healthy boundaries because it's going to be for my well being. It's going to promote my health, my good health. People end up in the hospital thinking they're having a heart attack. It's a panic attack because they were in a room with someone who did them harm as a child. And now there's a family reunion or a family dinner, and that person is there. And they said, well, just to keep the peace, I'll go, I'll just stay on the other side. But their body is in turmoil because they remember the trauma. Don't put yourselves in those situations. That's not fair to you. That's another, we talk about self-care, and I say this all the time. It's more than nails and hair and facials and massages. That's a form of self-care. Protect yourself. Be your biggest advocate. Only you know how you're going to feel later. shaking, in the hospital, uh, in bed for a week. No, then you have not set healthy boundaries. Does anybody have a question or a thought about that? Please share it in the chat. Because boundaries are so important. Do we have a problem with boundaries? Last week, a few people said, I have a problem setting boundaries with my parents. Share it in the chat if you do. Or maybe it's with a boss, or maybe it's with a sibling, or a child, or a spouse. Please share. Don't be shy. All right. Number 6 is emotional healing. So, mindfulness, it's a word that's thrown around a lot, but mindfulness is being in the here and now, the present. A lot of us, I've said it before, depression is an excess of the past. We're so back there with all the sad things and the terrible things that happen, it has us depressed. Anxiety is an excess of the future. What if? All the things that can go wrong in the future. But if we stay right here in the present is wonderful, right? It's 8:24 on Monday, September 2nd. I'm here with you. We're having a great time together. Life is good, right? We're learning together. So mindfulness helps you to stay present and aware of your emotions and notice without judgment. It allows you to better manage emotional reactions related to humiliation. So if you feel that reaction, you right here, what's going on? What am I feeling right now? Humiliation, why? Oh, because my boss just called me out on something in the meeting in front of the 10 other employees. Okay, and how can I handle that? No judgment. I shouldn't have done that, but no. Right now, what can we do about it? Miss Spiral says, I have Miss Spiral says, I have no problems with boundaries, but others might, when I set them, laugh out loud. I'm sure they do, Miss Spiral. Hey, Stace, good to have you here. But boundaries are very important. Along with mindfulness practices, emotional release. How do we do that? Express your emotions in a healthy way. And notice this, and this may be difficult for some people, through crying. You say, crying? Crying is healthy. There's a reason why we have the ability to cry. And I don't know the exact scientific data points, but it's been proven that the chemicals in the tears that we cry out when we're sad, lonely, all those unpleasant emotions is very different from when we cry tears of joy. So there are toxins that the body gets rid of by crying when we have unpleasant emotions. Don't suppress the emotions, don't suppress the crying, okay? Also, we can write in our journal, write about what's going on with us, and also talk to someone we trust. Does anyone here have a problem with crying? Do you feel embarrassed when you cry? Some people, ooh, and they run away and they cover themselves. Crying is a good thing. Can we start looking at it that way? It's very healthy. It's a healthy release. Renee says, definitely get an easier setting boundaries. Good. We got to protect ourselves. I'm going to take a sip of water. Number 7 is reframe the experience. Okay, so your story. Work on giving new meaning to experiences of humiliation, seeing how they've made you stronger or more self-aware. Now you say, well, I would have chosen to be made stronger in better ways, of course, but it is what it is, and it happened. And also accept that those experiences do not define your worth. What happened to you has nothing to do with who you are. I'm going to pause because Imani says, no issue crying. Good for you. Me neither. I'm a crybaby. Everybody knows it. It's good. So I'll give you an example about the experiences not defining your worth. Think of and this happens, think of a child who's 8 years old. They got good grades, straight A student or AB, right? Well behaved. And in the 3rd grade, all of a sudden, They're throwing tantrums in the school. They're aggressive to the other students. They're not being obedient. They're not listening to the teacher. The grades plummet to D's and F's. The normal reaction is, what's wrong with you? The adult to child, the parent to child, the principal to child, the teacher to the child. What's wrong with you? You used to get A's and B's. You were the best student. But instead of them saying what's wrong with you, what should they say? What happened to you? Something, there was a shift. The child changed. There's nothing wrong with the child. Something happened to that child and they're acting out. They're screaming for help. But a lot of exactly, Leah put it, instead of what happened to you. There's a book that Oprah Winfrey has with Leah. Do you remember the or Stacy, the other, the co-author? Is it Dr. Perry, Matthew Perry? I can't remember his name, but the book is phenomenal, excellent. And he talks about the changes that kids make and how it affects us into our adulthood. So when we accept that these experiences that we had do not define our worth, it's just something that happened to us. We had no control over most of the things that happened to us as kids. Where were we going to go? What were we going to do? How could we defend ourselves? We couldn't. We're helpless. Were. But now, Dr. Bruce D. Perry, thank you, Steve. The book is phenomenal. If you're a reader and you want to, what happened to you? And it goes between Oprah and this doctor. And the doctor shares all kind of real life experiences that he's had with a lot of children. It's phenomenal. So we want to reframe our story. That happened to me, and it has nothing to do with who I am today. It does not define me. I know I'm worthy of love and goodness in my life. Okay, one has nothing to do with the other. However, it made me the person that I am. It made me stronger, whatever the positive thing is from it. We can reframe it instead of the victim and this is what happened. There's a time for that as we heal. But as we continue to heal in the beginning process, but as we continue to heal, we can extract the good, who it made us into, the good things, and then be proud of that part of the story because then we did that part, right? You see the example, how it all blends together. That happened to me and does not define me. Love that. Yes. What's the name of the book again? Stacey, can you put it in the chat? I think the book is called What Happened to You, I think. Stacey's going to put it in, or Leah. Both of you have the book and you'll put it in there. I think it's What Happened to You. All right. What happened to you? Yes, thank you. So we're going to reframe our story and we're going to talk about forgiveness now. Now, this is a big one. Consider the process of forgiveness both towards others and yourself. Now, sometimes it's easier for us to forgive others. And when I say forgive, we forgive, and it's not even complete. But because I've talked about it, there's a process in forgiving. It's not from the angle of me, the adult. And yeah, I understand why my dad did that. But poor thing, he had a hard childhood and very philosophical. I forgive him because he didn't know any better. Okay, but you haven't healed because you need to step on this side and let the child speak. What was his or her experience as a child? Then if I'm talking as little Karen, 5, 6 years old, my daddy said this to me. And I remember crying all night. He hurt my feelings. He was my Superman. And then I couldn't believe that he treated me like that. That's the angle that we need to look at so that then that will lead us to forgiving ourselves because I'm looking at 5-year-old Karen and what could she have done? Because we blame ourselves. I should have done something. What could I have done? I was powerless. All I knew was to protect myself, right? Whatever that meant. But now when I look down on that little girl and maybe I have a picture of myself at 4 or 5, I encourage you to do that. Find a picture around that age when the traumatic thing happened to you And you say, this poor baby. Oh my God. You can look at her with compassion and say, I forgive you. You didn't know better. There was nothing you could have done to change the situation. Does that make sense? Does everybody get it? Can you say yes in the chat if that makes sense to you? Because that's how forgiveness can happen. But my client the other day, she's like, I've worked this stuff out. I've already compartmentalized it and I've moved on. Yeah, but you're sitting in front of me. You can't even sit still. You're full of anxiety, right? You can't even look at me because you looked at it from an adult standpoint, but I need you to look at it from a child standpoint. Poor baby. And of course, forgiveness doesn't mean you justify the mistreatment. It never means that, but rather that you release the emotional weight that you carry because of the wound, because this is going to release you from it. It's all about you in your universe. It's all about self-care and looking out for yourself. Gio says yes. Stacy says yes. Marion says makes great sense. Good. It's a whole different story when we look at it from the child's point of view. And I encourage you, if you have a picture, advocate for her. Yes, 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 Renee. Speak, protect her, speak up for her as the adult, but have compassion for her when you look at her at that age. She had very few choices, if any at all. So that leads us into practicing self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend who's suffering. It's going to be all right. You want me to get you some tea? I bought you some flowers today. I just wanted you to know I care about you. All the things, I love you, you're such a good person, all the things we say and do for people. I bought you this little cake. I was thinking about, do it to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Prioritize yourself, and that is self-compassion. Even if this isn't one of your wounds, be kind to yourself. It is so important. We have to make it a habit, a practice daily. And then, of course, self-care, which nurtures your physical, emotional, mental well-being. It could include medication, meditation, exercise, healthy eating, any activity that makes you feel good. But actually, yeah, medication. If you have high blood pressure and you don't take your medication, oh, I forget. I know, I don't. It's hard to keep on top of it. But that's very important, so you don't get sicker, right? More sick. You have to take your medication, right? If we take vitamins, if we want to talk to a friend, make a date with a friend, go out, do something fun, right? Some people are doing skating. Some of my clients, I think it was like a jazzercise. Someone's doing swimming in this community. Do it. It's self-care. Anything that makes you smile, makes your soul come alive. And if you don't know what that is, figure it out. Sit with yourself and try to. When I was a child, what was it I liked to do? There are double Dutch clubs because people, for adults, because people like, I used to love playing double Dutch. So they do it as adults, painting, whatever it is, bicycling, whatever the thing is, do it. Reading a book, cozied up, reading a book, laying in a hammock. You know what I did this week? Was it this week? Today's Monday, so it was actually last week, Friday. I went to one of my favorite parks in Long Island. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it had rained early that morning. So this was like 6, 7 hours, about 6 hours later. And I took my feet. Whenever I'm in grass, I have to take my shoes off. Everybody that knows me knows that. And the grass was cool and just a little bit damp. And I walked on that grass. They call it grounding. When your feet hit not pavement, not rubber, not asphalt, but the grass. When I tell you, for me, that was pure heaven, heaven itself. I loved it. And it just, along with the beautiful trees, and I'm a nature lover. So Karen needs to surround herself by nature as often as possible. And those of you that know me know that I do that as often as possible because it just heals me in every sense of the word. And I ooh and ah, and I sigh, and I take deep breaths, and I just pull it all in and enjoy it. Okay. Hobbies, yes. Grounding is amazing. Natural earth, yes. We have to take care of ourselves, please. Right? It's very important. We have to prioritize ourselves. Number 9 is build healthy relationships. We want to surround ourselves with positive support, vitamin people, right? Seek and cultivate relationships with people who value you and respect you. Montserrat Jiménez está aquí. Buenas noches, mi querida amiga. Bienvenida. Leah feels like she's there with me. Good, because you would have been walking in it too. We would have been on and on together. So these relationships provide us with the support and validation we need as we heal the wound of humiliation. We need people who we trust and love to mirror and tell us that we're valuable. And just the way they treat us, we can tell that we are valuable to them and that we have their support. And then assertive communication. We need to learn to communicate our needs and feelings assertively without fear of being humiliated or rejected. Because if that's what we experienced in childhood, we're going to assume that that's our reality now, but it's not. There are many people who want to hear your point of view, who want to hear what your needs are, what your feelings are, how something I did affected you. I want to know. And it doesn't have to be a whole big scandalous thing. It's a nice encounter. When you said this to me, it made me feel this way. And I really didn't appreciate it. The person really, if they love and care, I'm so sorry. Thank you for letting me know. I'll do better the next time. All right, let's go get lunch, right? But we have to communicate. Suppressing, that's what we learned with the wound of humiliation, because it's based on fear of being ridiculed and harassed and right diminished in public. So speaking out assertively can be a huge challenge, but you can learn how to do it. It's all about practice. Okay. Gio says she's blessed with many vitamin people. Renee says vitamin people love that. There's a author, can't think of her name tonight. Gio, we talked about her. If you can remember her, can you put her in? She's a Spanish speaking author, but the book might be in English as well. And she talks about vitamin people. They feed our soul. They lift us up. They make us feel good. They energize us. That's what we need to surround ourselves with. But sometimes because of our wounds, we're attracted to people that continue to wound us. Thank you, Gio. You girls are on it tonight. Thank you. Marianne Rojas Etape. She's phenomenal. And we attract people who feed those wounds and continue to humiliate us, degrade us, embarrass us. We can't have that. We have to stop that too. That's a form of self-care, setting clear boundaries, keeping those people outside of our inner space. Okay. Our last one is, we're doing good. I have like 9 minutes. Our last one is EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques. Another word for it is tapping. Have you heard of tapping? Has anyone heard of it? Leah, I know you have. um, it's amazing. It involves gently tapping specific points on the body, usually points that the acupuncturist would hit, right? Ah, Gio hasn't heard from it. Okay. So it's called tapping. And you tap on specific points gently while focusing on the emotions related to the wound. There's an app that I use. Fabi Boo does tapping. She did it this morning. Fabi, Ola, can you tell us how? I was going to call you Fabi Boo. Leah does it nightly. Can both of you share your experience in the chat, how it has helped you? We have like 7 minutes. And otherwise, we can continue talking about it in the emotional wellness chat. Alejandro, ¿puedes subir el chat, el enlace? Because it's really good. And it will take you through certain things. The first time I heard it, I was like, what? But it helps. And it hits those specific points on the body while focusing on the emotions related to the wound. And it can release and it helps to calm. It's really amazing. Trust me, it's really good. It's called tapping. You can look it up. You can look it up on YouTube as well. You can see different things, but it can truly heal and help. and calm stress. EFT, yes. Emotional freedom techniques. One of them is tapping. Leah says, my first experience was at rehab after one of my strokes. I think her physical therapist talked to her about it. Fabi Boo said, I'm not consistent with it, but it addresses areas of the body that need extra energy. There we go. Okay, you can do your research. We can continue to talk about it in the emotional wellness chat. I'll send you the link. Move stagnant energy. Yes. Leah said it cleared a serious childhood trauma. It's really good. Um, Oh, Leah, okay. The name of the app is Tapping Solution. It's free and it has different scenarios. If you're angry, if you're sad, um, things to help insomnia, different things. And you look, you see which one, you press, and it doesn't take long. It's really, really good. Imani says, thank you. Check it out. Any more questions, you can reach out to us in the app. Fabiola and Leah are in the app. Of course, I'm in the app and we'll continue, not the app, the link. And oh my goodness, the chat, and we'll continue to talk about it, okay? So healing the wound of humiliation is a personal journey. Will it take time? Of course. But with persistence and the right approach and with help, it's possible to transform the pain into strength and develop a more fulfilling and authentic life. That's what we want, right? We want to be happy. We really, really do. Renee says, thanks for the experiences. You're welcome. It's good that we're all, because we're here to help each other. And when people share and there's no shame involved, there's no shame. We're all looking for emotional wellness. And I'm so happy and honored to have people in this community that we share and we know that we won't be ridiculed or humiliated. In fact, someone says, what? Tell me again? Can you give me some more information? Because we all want to get better. It's beautiful. We're family. I love this community here. We have a few minutes. I found this self-care checklist. It says, take care of yourself this week. Look at some of the things it mentions. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Show affection to your pet or loved one. Buy yourself some flowers. Watch something funny. Get some fresh air with a short walk. Make your bed. Drink a glass of warm water with lemon as soon as you wake up. Stretch when feeling stagnant. Take regular technology breaks. Do one random act of kindness. This is my favorite. This is why it stood out to me. Stand barefoot on grass to get grounded. Change your sheets. Ooh, that first night with those clean sheets. Watch the sunrise or sunset. And play for 5 minutes with a pet or a child, your partner, friend, or even just jump on the bed. Things that our parents say, get off that bed, stop jumping. Do it. It's your bed now. You're grown. You can do it. You paid for the mattress and the bed, right? Those are things besides manicures and pedicures, and I'm going to get my hair done. That's self-care. And it's getting in tune with what we need as humans. My husband says, please press the like button. I agree, because that tells the algorithm in YouTube that this is good stuff and we want to share this wellness, emotional wellness worldwide, right? Post that source. I'll put it in the emotional wellness chat, Marion, for sure. As soon as we finish, Imani cracks up. It was a pleasure having you all here. Thumbs up, good work. Thank you for your time, your attention, being here. Um, like, what else can you say? It's just a beautiful thing. We're together and it's just a wonderful time together. Renee said she loves that. Yeah. Can we please do some good stuff for ourselves? Promise ourselves that we're going to take good care of ourselves this week. If none of those things resonated with you, find something that does and do it. And then let us know in the chat, the emotional wellness chat. It's a lot of good stuff going on over there. Let us know what you did for yourself this week. I'm going to check in. Maybe, let me think. Maybe Sunday morning, I'm going to put a reminder for myself to ask in the chat, what did we do for self-care this week? And I plan to have some good stuff to share too. Renee said, love that. Gio said, thanks, Coach Karen. You're amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks for being here. Imani says, yes. You probably can't hear it, but they're doing fireworks outside. I have no idea why, but I think they're celebrating like we're celebrating because we're all here. I will show you this. My bluish purple nails, that was something fun I did for myself this week. And I enjoy painting my nails. I think it's cute. It's fun. It's not responsible, but it's fun. Imani says, thank you. Love you all. Have a great night. Rest up. Those of you who are in Uko, I look forward to getting some more pictures tonight. Please post on Telegram so we can see what you're working on. We're doing the closets today. Love you all. Take care. Be well. Don't forget self-care. Bye now.
Un gusto estar con ustedes nuevamente. Queremos aprovechar de darles la bienvenida a los que están entrando a este canal. Si es primera vez que estás visitando Vimes Life, deseamos que disfrutes del contenido, que puedas también sumarte al canal, suscríbete, y queremos darte un avance de lo que hemos logrado y lo que ahora el canal tiene disponible para ti. Son 3 membresías que tendremos en nuestro canal.
Todo está servido. Puedes ingresar hoy mismo a la membresía que más te conviene, a la membresía que te va a beneficiar a ti y que te va a mantener unidito con nosotros, con la familia Vimes Life, para seguir optimizando la salud emocional.
Y hay algo muy interesante que debes tener presente, que puedes empezar con la primera membresía e ir escalando. Puedes ir escalando, de esa forma vas a poder ir desarrollándote en la formación emocional, en la gestión de las emociones, en el crecimiento como persona, y luego acceder a la siguiente membresía y luego a la de pioneros emocionales.
Y así también nos irán conociendo, Ale. Me parece que eso es algo importantísimo porque vas dando pasos seguros. Sin embargo, los de ustedes que ya tienen años con la familia Vimes y nos conocen, pueden comenzar desde la membresía número 3. En esta membresía quería recordar algo. Van a tener descuentos importantes en los cursos que nosotros demos. De aquí en adelante habrán otras membresías y los mantendremos informados.
Así que queremos que te unas en esta oportunidad, en este campo que nos permite disfrutar y alcanzar nuestros objetivos.
Nos vemos dentro en las membresías.